Absolutely. Take two it is. That was glitchy. At least if the internet is going to melt down and interrupt our broadcast, let it happen just as we are starting so that we can continue with a complete uninterrupted broadcast. And that is our hope for this morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at local, state, and national headlines and news that matter to us as a community of English speaking locals. My apologies. We had a little mini meltdown at the beginning, so hopefully all the people that tuned into the other broadcast will join us shortly, which is really ironic given the fact that this morning, I had time for my shower. I forgot to shave, but that's just a technicality. And I had all my notes and all my papers ready to begin broadcasting with 45 seconds to spare. And I was all excited, starting the earlier broadcast, and boom, there was a little failure. But here we are. It is August the 26th, and we have all kinds of headlines to share with you. Good headlines, interesting headlines, funny headlines. And we have a Spanish lesson. Today we learn how to practically and effortlessly fuck things up in Spanish. Yes, we are going to learn to fuck up royally in Spanish at the end of the broadcast. But first, as always, if you are new to Coffee and Headlines, this is our daily get-together. Feel free to let us know that you are new by adding the word new to your comments, and we'll be happy to offer you a proper welcome. If you have any specific questions or concerns that you wish to bring up during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your question or remark, and that way we will try our best to address it during the broadcast. A lot of news today invite comment, at least from me, from yours truly. But as always, I will try to keep things as evenly balanced as possible. But I will explain myself with our first headline, and you'll see what I mean right after our whoosh transition. Okay, so apparently, this is fascinating to me. Apparently, local businesses made a specific request to state health authorities to modify the vaccination times for the current campaign so that workers could go and get vaccinated after work in the evening until 8 p.m. Health authorities, of course, rejected the proposal, hoping that the business community would be more understanding of the fact that vaccination times are in place for a reason, and workers must be allowed to go get their vaccine during the expected hours. Now, it's totally unfair for me to comment on this one because I am a single employee of my little enterprise. Well, there's Luna, but she rules over everything. I don't have employees. I don't know what it means for a business to let 1 or 2 or 20 employees to go out and get vaccinated at any given time. But it seems to me ironic that the one community, the business community that is most affected because they cannot move forward as gracefully with their own financial recovery, is the one community that is preventing their staff from ensuring that the businesses are going to continue to recover. But I am sure that these are just certain exceptions to the rule, and I don't mean to throw shade on the business community because, again, I have no idea what it's like to schedule your business so that you can let people go and get vaccinated. But if you cannot let people go and get vaccinated, and on top of that, you want to change the rules, I don't know what to tell you. Anyhow, moving right along, a markee for a real estate office on Olas Altas fell down unexpectedly. I believe this happened yesterday or the night before, causing considerable damage and almost crushing a pedestrian. The markee collapsed due to structural damage on the property and humidity due to excessive rain. Fortunately, there were no injuries involved. This other news item begs a little bit of commentary as well. Vallarta Independiente reports the headline says that one lane of the state highway to Mascota is ready. But based on the image, I'd say it's not ready. It's simply flat and hopefully on its way to being ready once it is fully paved. We have indication that CEPAL is going to temporarily close a portion of Vienna Street in Versalles due to some water pipe upgrades. The closure includes the intersection with Francia Street. So hopefully the city will take the opportunity to intervene the intersection with new pavement, as this crossing has yet to receive the new pavement treatment that is going on along Francia Street lately. That would make sense, wouldn't it? That they would kill two birds with one stone. Let's see. A new tropical depression is forming in the Pacific coast that will bring a fair amount of rain to the states of Guerrero, Oaxaca, and Chiapas, south of Jalisco, of course. But since this is headed our way, we might as well get a heads up on what to expect for the following days. We have this image from the National Water Commission, or CONAGUA, that clearly shows that the tropical depression is likely to become a tropical storm by 1 p.m. today, evolving into a Category 1 hurricane by Sunday when it finds itself just south of our coast. So let's get up close and personal with this yet-to-be-named chingadera. And there she is, or he is. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but it's still further south from us. But as we know, these things head north usually. So, pum 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 pum. Let us head over to the weather to see what we can expect for the next few days. Well, looks like sexually explicit content is back on the OnlyFans menu, boys. Well, boys and kitty. We won't see Luna much these days because now that she knows that OnlyFans is continuing to allow, naughty content, Luna is busy relaunching her kitty porn career. And of course, I'm being silly. She does not have a kitty porn career. It is now 28 degrees. It feels like 33. Our temperature in Fahrenheit would be 82. And our humidity is at 88%. What can we expect for today and the next couple of days? Well, today we're going to be humid and mostly cloudy through the day. 33 is our high temperature. 25 is our low temperature. I can't read this morning for some reason. Tomorrow, Friday, we can expect rain in the evening and overnight with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 24. And Saturday, possible light rain until morning, starting again in the evening with a high temperature of 29, low temperature of 23. If that hurricane gets close to us, we probably won't see it until Sunday. And there is plenty of time still between now and then to determine exactly how much it is going to affect us. We have, as I mentioned before, we have a special language segment at the end of the broadcast. But first, a new article from the New York Times featuring 5 classical albums you may want to check out and why. As always, this will be listed in the show notes. And now we have some language fun, starting with this news item. Vallarta Opina reports that with the return to school this coming August 30th, national tourism is diminishing in Puerto Vallarta. And even though we've benefited by a fair amount of international tourism this summer, September is around the corner, and traditionally, it is the most challenging month in the year, financially speaking, as the fall/winter wave of tourists does not begin to arrive until mid-October. This provides an excellent opportunity to learn, or for some to remember, a classic local Spanish expression, which is septiembre. Septiembre is a made-up word that comes from the word septiembre, which means September, and hambre, which means hunger. So what do you get when you combine September and hunger? You get septiembre. That's what we call it here in Puerto Vallarta, because it is that portion of the year in which we don't have a lot of tourism. It is a crazy month. It rains. It is the warmest month of the year. So that's why we call it Septiembre. And yes, I did just say kitty porn. And of course, I was kidding. I was kidding. And now, the meat and potatoes of our language lesson today has to do with this headline. Oh my God, I'm blocking the famous Adela Micha. Adela Micha is a Mexican television personality, and we learned that the headline tells us that she reacted to the fact that her team displayed the wrong image when talking about a Mexican deputy. Instead of showing a picture of Diputado Mauricio Toledo, her production displayed an image of deceased Mexican painter Francisco Toledo by mistake. This is no big whoop, but her statement caught my attention. She says, La super cagamos. La super cagamos. So what does that mean exactly, and how bad of a snafu do we convey when we choose to use those words? We are now going to explore our practical guide to fucking up in Spanish. And it goes like this. Oh, that's not it. Hold on just a second. I need to switch over to my next slide. And there we go. We are going to take a look at a variety of expressions that we can use when we screw up. And they're going to go from mild to really major fuck up. And we're going to distinguish between expressions that we can use at the dinner table and expressions that are simply not appropriate at the dinner table. And of course, we're going to eventually stumble upon La Super Cagamos, which is what this Mexican major television personality used. And we're going to determine just how proper or improper she was by using those words. Are we ready? Let's go. For starters, the mildest form of an explanation or a reaction to screwing up would be to say oops, which in English is exactly the same. Oops. It's a mild little mistake that we make. So we made a small mistake. It is perfectly okay to say oops. And then moving on, we can actually say I made a mistake in Spanish, which is me equivoqué, or cometí un error, which literally means I committed an error or I committed a mistake. All of these are, they're small snafus, no big whoop. That's what we would call them. But moving down in the scale of intensity, we have metí la pata, which would be kind of the equivalent of I screwed up in English. Metí la pata literally means I put my foot forward, which is what we do when we trip. So this is a little bit more of a snafu, but it's still quite perfect and quite appropriate for the dinner table. So moving down the line, we have cometí un grave error, which would be I made a serious mistake. And that is exactly what the expression means. I committed a grave error. So this would be something more serious, more severe. And then we start getting into the questionably appropriate metaphors such as la cagué. La cagué, which is the equivalent of I fucked up. Cagar is the infinitive of a verb that means to take a shit, quite literally. So we go poo-poo, we go number two, animals take a shit in Spanish. In Spanish, animals cagan, or defecan, they defecate. And a more colorful way to say that is to cagar. And so when I say la cagué, the mistake is a little bit bigger, and it shouldn't be confused with cagotear, which is what happens when somebody scolds you. La cagué is borderline dinner table appropriate in my book, or my mother or father would have looked at me funny if I would have said something like that. at the dinner table. Moving down on the list, cometí un gravísimo error. I made a major mistake. This gravísimo, as opposed to cometí un grave error, is even a bigger mistake. And this is perfectly appropriate to make a big mistake, a gravísimo error. That is perfectly appropriate to say at the dinner table. And then, last but not least, we have what Adela Micha said, which is la super cagué, which is an even bigger version of la cagué, which would be the English equivalent, I majorly fucked up. So if our beloved Adela Micha had said la super cagué at my parents' dining room during dinner, they would have looked at her funny and they probably would not have invited her again. And that is, of course, a quick and dirty guide to fucking up in Spanish. This guide takes for granted that you are properly well medicated or that you have enough access to a therapist such that you can actually admit to and own your own mistakes. We cannot help you with that. But assuming that you are cool and altogether ready to admit to your own mistakes, these are the different options you may want to consider depending on the situation or the gravity of your fuck up. So that is the end of our news section. Let us now take a look at your comments for today just to see what everybody is thinking about. Pum, 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 pum. Lots of good mornings as always from Texas and sunny Toronto and Arizona. It is just great to see you all. Michael tells, oh my goodness, in the car soon to have my hearing checked. Edgar says I have an issue and I said it's selective. Okay, sometimes I don't want to hear certain things too, so I can relate to that. I hope everything goes well with your doctor appointment. Dave says, time to check out Total Play. Shh, I don't want to enter another one of those horrible episodes with Telmex. I'm just going to be in denial a little bit today and make sure that I keep an eye on what's going on with Telmex. And unbelievable. I can't believe this. We were kicked out again. Amazing. So what I'm having to do now is I'm going to find your comments from the last broadcast, which I cannot show. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Where are the comments from the second session? Yeah. Okay, I am looking at your comments from earlier just now. And let me just see that if there was something important that I missed. The good news is that we had finished all our news, so the important part was taken care of. But I just want to take a quick look at your comments in case there was something really important that we want to discuss today. I did notice that as soon as I mentioned Telmex, I melted. So I'm sorry about that. Let me see if there's anything important that we should have talked about today. I see a lot of good mornings. I see more good mornings. Yes, this was live interrupted, as mentioned by Jorge. And let's see, do we have any more comments? No, I think we're good. I think we are good. So you did not have any new comments that I should have looked at or addressed. So I am here, and some of you may have already left and may not come back. And I am very happy to stick around for a little while just to see if anybody has any last-minute comments that you wish to share with us. And yes, I don't like it when the internet glitches on me. I did recall seeing a comment from Matthew somewhere asking how I was doing with Zoom. And let's see what we have. Hold on just a second. Well, I do see some comments coming up here, and I see one from Lori. Where is it? Lori asks, "We are arriving December. In your opinion, is it safe?" My God, that is such an open-ended question. Lori, are you a tourist or a local? If you're a tourist, you will be fine because local businesses are doing everything they can to take care of you and make sure that it is safe for you. It is always safe when you take care of yourself, and it is always safe when you follow the local guidelines. If you are a local, then you probably already know what the local guidelines are. But it's still so far away from now, Lori, it's difficult to tell what on earth is going to be happening in December. But all I can tell you is stick around, keep watching, and keep asking questions, and we will make sure that we answer your questions as possible. Ronald asks, how are things on Amapa's slide area? Well, it is still closed, and I'm sure it's going to be closed for a long time because, you know, they have to reinforce that whole side of the mountain before they start building the replacement road. And of course, for them to be um, fixing the replacement road, they need to designate who's liable and who is going to do that. That's going to be there for a while. I don't think that's going to change. Let's see. Lori says we will be there for 2 months. That makes you a tourist or maybe a local. I don't know. But ultimately, Lori, I appreciate the question, but it's so difficult to answer such an open ended question when we have 4 months to go. And I'm sure that's not particular to Puerto Vallarta. It is happening everywhere. Everywhere. Let's see what else we have. I don't see any other questions. So, last call. Yay, tomorrow is Friday. That means we'll be discussing another colonia. Yes, tomorrow we are going to talk about Colonia Lopez Mateos. That is the colonia that you voted as the second least favorite colonia that you wanted to learn something about. So, that's the colonia that we will tackle tomorrow. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Currently, no COVID shopping restrictions. That's always nice. Absolutely, absolutely. If anybody wants to go shopping, as long as you're willing to wear a face mask when you walk into a shop, you should be fine. I keep hearing more and more reports of people from Mexico and from other places that just cannot put on a darn face mask, and I just or people that sit down at restaurants that just want to have a cocktail and do not want to eat. Well, particularly in beachfront restaurants, well, you have to follow guidelines. And the guidelines are there for a reason. And that's all we can say on the matter. So, okay, so I think we are pretty much done with today's broadcast. Again, I am sorry that we had a couple of glitches there. Nothing that I did, and but I'll be looking into it so that we can make sure that that it doesn't happen again. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll be back tomorrow, as always, and we will continue to find out what's going on with the latest news. We'll keep track of that new tropical storm, and I did notice that Claudia, one of our viewers, gave it a name, but I think it was in the other comments. So it'll come, and we'll see what happens between now and then. Please stay happy, stay kind, stay well fed, stay cautious, and stay loving of yourselves, loving of your community. Do something fun today. And I say jinx because Terry just posted that. Do something fun today and stay safe. I've never. Oh, they have a puppuccino. Oh, today's International Dog Day. This is absolutely wonderful. So do something fun today. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully we will absolutely be looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, sometime in the very near future. Have a good one.